Ladies and dudes, I got a very genius idea for a brand new top 5 list that nobody has never done before. And this top 5 list is going to be a very fun one. Let's find some hidden Easter eggs here and there that came from one of the most underrated anime series of all time. The anime series that I did review from last year. Well, anyway, hi ladies and dudes, this is Rebecca Lynn Barkley, aka Boobop197. This is my review for today. And today, I have no review, ladies and dudes, but for today's list, ladies and dudes, I'm gonna do a brand new top 5 list that nobody has never done before. And this top 5 list is going to be a fun one. Oh heck yeah. And for this top 5 list I'm going to do for today is, did anybody remember my anime review of 2D Abandoned Sacred Beasts? And I will let you know right now, I enjoy that anime series. It's one of the best anime series I have ever seen so far in anime history. And yes, it is starting to become one of the most underrated anime series of all time. And that's a type of anime series that I love. And anime series that need to be overlooked right away. It's not really popular enough, or maybe one day it'll have a strong cult following. And also, the best part I love about this anime series that really did touch me the most, hidden Easter eggs. There's a whole ton of hidden Easter eggs to be found from this underrated anime series. So, for today's top 5 list of the day is my top 5 best hidden Easter eggs that came from 2D Abandoned Sacred Beasts. And there is so many hidden Easter eggs to choose from. Something that I have already pointed out. Something that will surprise you. There will be some hidden Easter eggs here and there that came from your favorite movies, your favorite TV shows, or some of them that reminded you from your favorite anime series. You know, the old previous anime series here and there. If you know what I mean. So, without further ado, ladies and dudes, let's head on to my top 5 best hidden Easter eggs that you did remember or do not remember from 2D Abandoned Sacred Beasts. And yes, ladies and dudes, I do have a couple of honorable mentions. The ones you get the picture. The ones who didn't make it to the list. So, for my first honorable mention, does anybody remember that big giant form that Hank transformed? It kind of reminds me of Lord Sesshomaru's doggy form from Inuyasha. You know, back in the early days of Inuyasha. He did it right in front of Inuyasha and Kagome. Does anybody remember that Easter egg? The other Easter egg that came from that tragic scene that came from the final episode of Berserk, or the movie version of Berserk, or the manga version of Berserk. Yeah, they had a few changes here and there that came from in that scene in episode 6. But be happy about one thing. That Cain did not rape Nancy. That is a good sign. We don't want to see the main villain to rape the main female lead in the story, if you know what I mean. And there's a lot of things that the Incredible Hulk and Hank the Wolfman have a lot of things in common. Like, they have muscles, they kept their pants on, they are barefooted. And yes, there is one thing thing they don't have in common. Like Hank in the werewolf form, he doesn't have green, green skin. And the other for the Incredible Hulk, he has no fur. Great hidden Easter egg to find. And also, there's some characters here and there that kind of reminds me of Basilisk and the Incredible Hulk characters that came from the 1970s version and the 2008 version. Like, Hank reminds me of Genosuke-sama and Dr. David Banner. Nancy reminds me of Oberodono or Betty Ross. I will say that Liza lady, the one who has the big boobies, she kind of reminds me of a fusion between Akaginyu and Hakoi. You could say that Captain Kidd kind of reminds me of the young Mr. McGee or Koshiro. And you could say that old dude who's the right-hand man of the Kid Captain, he's a good guy version of General Ross. And yes, Kane does remind us of Tenzin. Can't you see the difference? So, those are my honorable mentions of what kind of hidden Easter eggs I did found so far from this underrated anime series. And now, let's head on to the top 5 best. So here we go. Coming at number 5 is, there are some hidden Easter eggs I did found with the main villain named Kane. And Kane gave me 3 hidden Easter eggs I did remember that came from the 3 familiar anime series. Does anybody remember the part in episode 6 where both Hank and Kane's brother, they did take turns of taking care of their enemy once and for all, and they cut him in half? That kind of reminds me from Dragon Ball Z, where Goku used his Kamehameha wave on Perfect Cell and he cuts him in half. And yeah, the regeneration thingamajig. And the other is that bloody misfield, the bloody cloud thingamajig. That kind of reminds me of Akaginyu's technique that came from Basilisk. The bloody mist thing. And most of all, Kane can use the Shadow Clone Jutsu, and you already know where that came from, right, ladies and dudes? It came from Naruto's Shadow Clone Jutsu from all the series of Naruto, the original, Shippuden, and Boruto. And yeah, Doctor Strange also did a Shadow Clone as well from the Avengers Infinity War. So that's some great hidden Easter eggs to find from the main villain of this underrated anime series. And it deserves to be at number 5. Coming at number 4 has to go to stretchy clothes. Yes, it is freaking true. There are some beasts hidden there, here and there that did rip off their clothes. Well, there's some of them who kept their clothes on and some of them who kept their clothes off. But the reason why I had to point that one out as a hidden Easter egg, it also came from Dragon Ball Z. Does anybody remember Bardock the Father of Goku, or some of the episodes here and there where Vegeta transformed into that big giant ape? They found a way to not rip off their clothes and keep them nice and stretchy. And yes, there was a scene in Dragon Ball Z where Vegeta told Gohan and Krillin about that important thing about wearing stretchy clothes, and that way you'll never rip off. And it's true that Hank did transform into a werewolf, and he only kept a half of the size of his clothes. Well, except for his boots and gloves and maybe a shirt. They got ripped off, but not the pants and his jacket thing. He does have a power to keep his clothes on and make it nice and stretchy. That's a cool hidden Easter egg to find, and that deserves to be at number 4. Coming at number 3 goes to the Ghostbuster gadgets. Yes, ladies and dudes, 2D Abandoned Sacred Beast is one of the best anime adaptations ever that came from our dear beloved 80s film of all time called Ghostbusters. And there's a lot of gadgets to be found in this anime series. And I know it's not true, they can't do those laser thingies and put these beastly monsters into a box. So that didn't happen. But there's a lot of gadgets to be found, like guns and gunfire thingy-majigs and the things they could use for flying or something that they could use for their feet. There's a whole ton of hidden Easter eggs to find in those really cool gadgets. What else I could say? So, the Ghostbuster gadgets deserves to be at number 3. Coming at number 2, we found another adaptation from another great film that was in the anime series. And it's one of Liam Neeson's most underrated films of all time. So anyway, for number 2, there are some references here and there that came from In the Grey. Yes, if you remember The Grey pretty well, it's a story about a group of survivors who need to survive in the harsh, cold winter, and they need to beware of wolves. And yeah, for episode 9 and 10, they did show some storyline that they made of their own from The Grey. You know, like the harsh, cold winter thing, trying to survive. And there are some hidden Easter eggs I did found with episode 10. Does anybody remember the dream sequence where John Aquay, that's his name, he had a dream about his wife a couple of times here and there. And there was a part where Hank did have a dream where he did see his ex-girlfriend again. That girl named Elaine, if I got her name right. But it only happened a few seconds. And yeah, thanks to episode 10, they finally gave us the ending that we all deserve. You know that ending where we left it in the cliffhanger and we did not see what the heck happened between John and the wolf? Thanks to that episode 10, they finally showed the ending that we all deserve, where Hank transformed back into a werewolf and he faced that purple werewolf monster thing. And he did kill him off. And yes, they did show the mention about live and die on this day, live and die on this day thing, but it's more like live and die on this night. Well, if you ever seen those 2 episodes, you'll know what I'm talking about. And that deserves to be at number 2. And finally, the number 1 best hidden Easter egg that came from To the Abandoned Sacred Beast is the Ultra Instinct Hank. Yes, ladies and dudes, we're already familiar about that hidden Easter egg. It came from in Dragon Ball Super, where Goku finally released that brand new power of Ultra Instinct fully mastered. And yes, Hank did found a way to become that type of guy who can unlock that hidden power that's inside of him. But I'm sure it's brand new to him. He had never released that type of power before. I was thinking to myself, about this brand new power that he has, is it the only way that he could keep his humanity alive so he could stay and remain human for the rest of his life? Or is it because that he finally opened up his heart to Nancy? Maybe thanks to Nancy, I think she's the one who unlocked Hank's new power that nobody had never seen before. And I hope and pray maybe he could use it again whenever season 2 will come out. We don't know for sure. So yeah, Ultra Instinct Hank deserves to be the number 1 best hidden Easter egg that we ever found from this underrated anime series called 2D Abandoned Sacred Beast. And that is my whole entire list of the top 5 best hidden Easter eggs that came from 2D Abandoned Sacred Beast. And tell me, ladies and dudes, what is your most favorite hidden Easter egg that you have ever found from 2D Abandoned Sacred Beast? Well, whichever it is, leave a comment there and let me know. And join me next time for more videos to come in the main future. So, that is it for now. I'll see you guys later, and sayonara.